Right, fly. Today I'm going to change the screen on this iPhone, which is an iPhone 6, and obviously the screen's smashed. The LCD still works fine. I'll show you this bit. I'll just block out the picture because it's obviously someone else's picture. There you go, LCD still works fine, but we need to, because of the way these screens are, we just replace the whole screen, and that's the best option. So just find my tools, that one, and now there's an excellent chance that we're going to get interrupted today because it's the middle of the day and the children are out playing, so they'll probably be screaming their heads off shortly. Lots of a million iPhone screen replacement tools. So the first thing we do, take these screws out the bottom to loosen off or make, that's what's securing the screen basically, so we need to take them off first. And then we use a sucker, which doesn't, the sucker is a good thing, but as you can see, it doesn't usually work on ones that are cracked because the air gets in the spaces. And then there are people say we'll use an opening tool for that, but I just use my fingers and run them down the edges here. Here you can see there's a big dent. That might cause us some problems. We might have to persuade that back out when we put the new screen back on. So loosen off the sides, and then the screen, you just pull it forward a bit and then opens up like that, and then you can see what's inside. So first thing we'll do actually is I'll block that out again. We'll just switch the power off, and then we're going to take this piece off here. This is the, just zoom in for you so you can see. Keep it here. There's the sucker, don't need that anymore. Here is the battery cover. It's on there. Got the wrong screwdriver, but oh, that's interesting. So put that there. That is very interesting. Never had any trouble removing those screws before. Perhaps this has been replaced before. We shall see. Right, take that off. That's the battery cover, so that goes that way. And then again, just using my finger, I'm going to say this has been replaced before because look at the state of that piece. It's all like someone's picked that off a bit. So we'll just, now we need to take this cover off. This is for the screws, not the screws, the LCD and digitizer connectors, as well as the home button connector and the speaker assembly and camera connector, which includes the proximity sensor and the ambient light sensor, which is, we'll see later. Right, so you go there. 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. Where's the other screw gone? Is that in there? Oh, I don't know. I will need to check back on the video. Anyway, keep this in the middle today so you can see. Right. Take that piece up. These are all the connectors, so we need to, doesn't really, I mean the battery's disconnected, doesn't really matter which order you take these off in now, but you'll find that you can only take them off in a specific order because they're all hidden underneath each other. think that screw wasn't there. So I don't usually lose screws, right? Here we put the phone there. Goodness me, that's difficult. Right, so there it is there, stuck to the screwdriver. So that's what would have happened. You can't even see what I'm talking about, it's up here, that's where the screws are, right here. Speaker assembly is coming off first, so we're taking that screw out. And again, take the screws out, I put them all sort of in the same order as they came out. But you can't see today because I've zoomed in, so you can see a bit better what I'm doing. Take that off, just a little shield, and then peel back the camera, like that. Take the speaker out, put that next to the rest of the stuff, and then we'll just pop this up, and this is the ambient light sensor and the proximity sensor. So if you don't know what the proximity sensor is, this here is proximity sensor is what makes the screen go off when you hold the phone up to your ear, and that was quite a big thing when the iPhone first came out, that it was quite important obviously that when you answered the phone and put it to your ear it didn't hang up because your cheek was pressing buttons. So we're just peeling off this piece now, which is a microphone, and that microphone stops it's a sort of noise cancelling microphone. It means that it detects the ambient noise and then adjusts the output. We've talked about that before. Right, take these screws out. These are just for the shield on the back of the thing. So I'm not sure, to be honest, if this screen's been replaced before. It's hard to tell because it does look in some places like it has been, but can't tell for certain. This should be a much quicker video than the previous one where what did they do in the previous one? It was this is the home button cover now, we're just taking this off at the same time. Put it there. What was the previous video? I can't remember. Is it an iPad? Not sure. Right, so the home button. This is where we'll find out if it has been taken apart before. So this connector comes off here, and you just pop the home button out like that, and then its little chip here is glued onto the screen. So if this has been replaced before, then that should come off rather willingly. If not, it's usually stuck down pretty good. What am I thinking? That came off rather willingly. There's your home button, the only one that will work for this phone, so do not break it. Put that there, and then one more screw. Now this is where we usually need a bit of heat, just to slacken off this little bit here, so just 2 seconds while I get the heater. Just zoom out. Now this is the heater. It looks a little bit like a hair dryer, and it belongs to my wife, but it is not, and I'm stealing it. Right, so what I'm going to do is just put my finger on that sensor, and then I'm going to heat it up from the front. When I feel the heat coming through my finger on the back, then it'll be loose enough. closer and have a look. There we go. So I don't know if you can see that, but the actual thing just moves now, so I'm a bit wary usually of actually touching this, but because it is a very thin cable, so you need to be very careful. So just usually coax it up a wee bit after I add in the heat. So there we go, this bit's off. And I'll put that there. Just going to test this other screen just now because, well, usually I would do that before I start taking everything off, but jumped the gun a wee bit today. So just sticking these connectors down. All the connectors, by the way, are different sizes, so they can only go into one of these sockets, but you have to be careful not to, like, you know, if it doesn't seem like it's going in, take it out, go and have a wee 5 minutes to yourself and then come back to it, because if you break it, then that's not good. Right, just check that screen. It's looking good. And we'll see if we get touchy responsiveness in one moment. Here come the children. Oh, they're crying. Fell on her bike on the road. Poor girl. Nearly done, come on. Let me just finish this. Right, the screen's back on. Slide to unlock, that's working. Seems a bit dark, but it was definitely bright before. Just cancel that. I think it's it'll be because this ambient light sensor is not there to tell us how bright it is, so it can't tell us. It can't tell. Anyway, it's working. Right. So take that off and clip these again. Again, people will say, oh, you should use or maybe, no one's ever said to me, oh, you should use this part to do that, but you get sent like these little, I think I've got one there, like a little plastic tool with a sharp edge on it, and you should use. Well, I guess they give you it to use for removing things like that, but I prefer a bit of tactile, you know, a bit of being able to feel how things are coming off rather than just howking at it with a big plastic opener. Right, so there's a little bit of tape here. Take that off and then just fold this piece under it and keep the wire out. And then, so lay this back up in its place. And then we'll tape, this piece needs to be exactly where it goes behind. There's a little, oh sorry you can't see, there's a little ridge here, it needs to be exactly behind that, otherwise the home button won't sit, the home button connector won't sit in it properly. Right, these are all good. So I'm just going to put the side screws back in here, just to hold this down because it wants to move with that little bit there, popping up, springy, right. Maybe zoom out a bit just so you can see what's going on here. There you go, now you can see everything. I need to get this done quickly so I can get the children in the bath, because tomorrow we're going to see Peppa Pig. Yay! That'll be great fun, I'm sure. And also, they're getting a bit grumpy because they've been up too early this morning. The summer holidays, so they spend all night on their iPads. Which, they've had their iPads for about 2 years now, 2 iPad minis, and they've never broke the screens on them. And every time I get an iPad mini to fix, I always show them it and say, this is what happens if you break your iPad. I think that struck the fear into them. They look after them pretty good now. Right, so where's my tweezers? tweezers. Ladies' eyebrow tweezers here, right? So there's a little plastic bit here which is covering a sticky bit that needs to come off. Off it goes. And that's where you stick down this microphone bit. So we put that on here first. It has a little locator sort of pin bit. And then off of this screen we need to get this. So we just wrestle that off. As you can see, it's been off before. Usually they're a bit harder than that to get off. And then stick it in there while it's still freshly stickable. And then this piece as well. But these are just little brackets to hold the camera and another piece in the right sort of location when you put it back together to stop them sliding around. So they're quite important. Oh, that's me getting shouted on there to go make something. So there's going to be children on the video shortly begging for toast, I think. We'll be saying, Daddy, give us a slice of toast. Right, there we go. That bit's back in, so we'll put the speaker back in. This again has a little bit here where the speaker, this little sticky out bit there, I don't know if you can see it, but it sticks into that socket there. It's a bit tricky, but you need to make sure it's in there, otherwise when you answer the phone it just sounds like someone's talking through a sock or something like that. You need to make sure it's properly in the right spot, which can prove a bit. That's it. So you'll know it's in because it'll stop wriggling. Right, they're down. Again, there's another couple of locators here for this, but this little piece here has the connectors on it for the speaker, so you need to make sure that that's in the right place, and then they come right through the little locating sort of key bit, comes right through and sticks there, and then the screws can go back in this bit, which is tricky at the best of times because you've got to hold it down and get the screw in. So, screw one, then we'll go for the other side. I like to just do the sides first, and that holds it in place while we put the last one in. Here's the last one. And you can usually tell if there's something wrong. There will be like a bump where it's pushing up. It shouldn't be, but I think we're pretty good there. Nothing pushing up. Got those screws in. One screw to go in the bottom here with a home button, which can go back in now. Can you still see what I'm doing? Yes, right, so home button just goes in there. It's still sticky on its little rubber gasket thing. It's still sticky on there from when I took it off the first before, and then clip its little guy in there, which should be exactly in the right place. There shouldn't be any sort of need to move that about. We'll put that back in. Again, has a locator pin. Sorry about the children noise. And then we'll just screw that down. That was in the wrong place. And then this one there. And then this one. And there. That's everything back on there. No, not that, I don't need that. I need the phone. Right. Now we'll just stick this all back onto the phone. So this piece goes on. Where does that go? I think it goes on. It's always difficult to. As long as these are in the right place, that's all that matters. But I think this one goes in last. So, sorry, what I'm saying there is these all have to go in a particular way so that these three are in line. This one doesn't matter because it comes off to the side, but if you don't put these ones in the right way, they won't be able to stick back into their sockets. So, sticky, sticky. And the second one. that one in. Not sure if that one's in right actually. It's stuck in good. Right, yeah, that's in right, that's in right. And the last one, that's in right. And the home button one is also in right. So battery back in. Switch them back on. Zoomy zoomy. Right, here we go. So I'm being a bit more quiet today just because the children are there, and if they hear me talking they'll come up and say, where are you talking to, Daddy? Who are you talking to? Then I have to stop. So you can see the camera poking through here. Up here's where the light sensor is, and the wee microphone's in the front there as well, and the speaker obviously behind that part. There we go, and it's brightened up as well. Still responsive. And just make sure the home button's working. Yeah, and touch. Yeah, so that's responding when you touch it. So yeah, so it knows, that means the Touch ID is working. So happy with that. So we just put the screws back in, and then it's game over. Job's a good one. This screw is not as magnetic as the other one, so it's a bit of a pain. I usually go for that one first. But also this whole thing is a bit of a pain because you've got to hold the screen up whilst Jesus Christ, whilst you screw these screws back in. Without obviously ripping any of the little ribbon cables out. Oh, it was the iPad mini, that was the last one I did, so I remember now. That took ages because of the 50 million screws on the shield on the back. That was a pain in the neck. And they always are. There we go, and then the battery cover. Jesus, come on. Too magnetic. One and I think that's in their own hole as well. We got this the wrong way around or something. That's way. Right, so that is the large boy. And there. And the small laddie. And there. There we go. All back in. So not, those ones will be fine because that was an indented little bit. So as you can see, we're still in business there. It's going to be hard to block that out. Shouldn't have done that. Right, take that off again. Right, push the sides down and make sure it's all clipped in nicely. Then put these screws back in. Forgot to check if you could see while I was doing that bit. Never mind. Because zoomed in again, didn't I? So putting these screws back in the bottom, which will hold it all together. Screw it in and just check the sides. It's all good. finished. Yes, yes, it's all finished. Good. Right, that's that one done.